Hello students, welcome to English lecture. Today we will discuss the figures of speech on the poem The Cherry Tree. Figures of speech, they are called poetic devices because they beautify the language of the poem, and that's why they are called figures of speech. You know that poem is a beautiful expression, and that's why we need embellished language, beautiful language in the poem. And these figures of speech or poetic devices, they give that beauty to the poem, to the expression. So let us discuss the figures of speech in this poem, The Cherry Tree. The first figure of speech is climax. This figure of speech is called climax because successive words, phrases, sentences are arranged in ascending order of importance. For example, pink, fragile, quick to fall. So here you can notice the arrangement of the words in the line. For example, they move from healthy to delicate. Here, the cherry blossom turns pink. So, first of all, it talks about color, then ripens and is ready to be picked. And that's why they're fragile and quick to fall. So, here the figure of speech is climax. जेव्हा काही वर्ड्स किंवा काही फ्रेजेस किंवा काही शब्द किंवा काही वाक्य ही चढत्या क्रमाने मांडलेली असतात त्यांच्या इम्पॉर्टन्सनुसार, तेव्हा त्याला क्लायमॅक्स असं म्हटलं जातं. इथं एक्झाम्पल आहे पिंक, फ्रजाईल, क्विक टू फॉल. Now, another figure of speech in this poem is a very common one, that is alliteration. Alliteration means repetition of the same consonant sounds after quick succession. So, you should notice here that there should be repetition of consonant sound and it should be in quick succession. So, one after another, that consonant sound should be repeated. Now, what are the consonants? K, K, D, D, P, F. All these are called consonant sounds. And there are some vowel sounds, but here you should consider only consonant sounds. So, its arms in a fresh fire's lust. This is an example. Here, the consonant sound f is repeated pleasingly. Fires, fish, fires, lust. Made a miracle from green growing pain. Here you can see made a miracle. So here M sound is repeated and green growing pain. Here G, that G sound is repeated. The next figure of speech in the poem is antithesis. Antithesis. Thesis means statement and antithesis means two opposite words or ideas that are placed in a same line, in a same statement or stanza. For example, here came back thinner, rather poor, but richer by a cherry tree at my door. So here, poor and richer, these two words, these two ideas are opposite and they are placed in the same line or stanza. And that's why this figure of speech is antithesis. Next figure of speech is personification. Here, non living objects or things are considered as human beings and given human qualities. So, you can imagine that a blackboard can speak to you, it can tell his own autobiography to you. So, this kind of imagination is called personification. because here blackboard is personified. Now, the example in the poem is it was very small, 5 months child. So, here the plant, that small plant, small, delicate, tender plant or sapling is represented as human child. So, this is example of personification. Now, Cherry Tree, what kind of poem it is? It is a narrative poem. And what are the characteristics of a narrative poem? You can see here that Cherry Tree is a narrative poem. Features that make it a narrative poem are given below. So, the poem has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Yes, the poem begins with the poet's attempts to grow his own tree, that is, sowing the seeds. Then you can see that the tree is blossomed, and the last one is the tree, the poet enjoys the beauty of that blossom tree. So, the poem has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Different places are mentioned. Yes, here you can see that Kashmir, that place is now mentioned here. Characters are referred to. Yes, here you can see there are some characters in the poem. The tree cutter, the goat, then the tree itself is a character, then the bees. So these characters they are referred to. Incidents are arranged in sequence. So here you can see the sequence of events that first of all the poet planted some seeds. He sowed some seeds in the soil. Then he had a sapling, a plant, and then the tree grew and it became a very large tree, big tree, cherry tree, fully ripened with fruits and blossoms. And the poet enjoyed its beauty. So, this is the sequence of incidents. There is a dialogue between the poet and the reader or the characters of the poem. So here is there is no dialogue of course, but the poet talks himself that yes, I should have my own tree. So this is a conversation of the poet to himself. It is a time bound poem, yes. So here you can see the timing is given, and in this way you can say that this cherry tree is a narrative poem. Now there will be question on poetic creativity. Means here you have to imagine yourself as if you are a poet and you have to write some lines of your own in poetic style. So, this needs creativity, this needs imagination, this needs the new words, how to use new words. And that's why you must try, you must have a practice of writing such lines in poetic expression. So, the question can be compose 8 to 10 line, narrate any incident in your life without using any rhyming pattern. So, there is no rhyming pattern, so here you can answer this question. I decided to plant a tree, but it was not easy to do it. I didn't have a place to plant. I was lying in a flat. It had no courtyard. So I bought plastic trees. They had no need to give water and soil, but it also didn't have any life and growth. So, in this way, you can use your own narration. You can narrate any incident regarding planting of the tree. So, this is called poetic creativity. Or there can be question that compose 4 lines on importance of tree. So here you can write your own lines in poetic manner. That is called poetic creativity. Now how to appreciate the poem? There are some points, and according to these points you have to appreciate, means you have to discuss, you have to comment on this poem. The points are about the poem, poet, and title. So you should introduce who is the poet and what is the title of the poem and what is the central idea of the poem in the first small paragraph. Then you should talk about theme, summary, or a gist of the poem. Gist of the poem means summary of the poem. You should write in short that what is the poem about. Then, poetic style, language, or poetic devices used in the poem. So, you have to mention which figures of speech are used in the poem. Then, whether the poem has special features or some novelties, means novel things, new things, or some focusing elements on which you can focus. So if these special characteristics or special features are there, then you have to mention. Here you can see in this poem is narrative poem. So this is a special feature of this poem, and all the characteristic of a narrative poem, they are present in this poem, and it looks like just a story, just an incident. So in this way you can comment on this poem like this. Then, message or values, what do you learn from this poem? Morals in the poem. Now here you learn that we must have friendship with nature right from the childhood. We should observe nature and the growth of the trees. And the last one is that plant trees, more and more trees, so that we can save our earth. So this message we get from this poem. And then last one is your opinion about the poem. Do you like the poem? Yes, you can say that because of the beautiful expressions, the beautiful images, natural images. For example, that if you look at these lines, that they are pink, fragile, quick to fall, even at the sleepiest breath. So this line indicates how tender, how delicate these blossoms are. So here, this poetic expression is beautiful poetic expression. Then there is reference of seasons, spring season, summer season. So these seasons are mentioned here. Then all the colors are mentioned here, and even we can see that the poet's enjoyment in the company of the nature. All these things I like most. So in this way you can give your own opinion about the poem. So dear students, while appreciating the poem, you must use these points. Point wise you should write so that you can write on the particular point. Summary of the poem. While writing the summary of the poem, you should use following points. Title, then introductory paragraph means about the poem type, nature, what kind of poem it is, then tone. So you can see it is a very natural tone. The poet has used so many common incidents in the life. Main body, that is central idea or summary of the poem, and then conclusion, that opinion, your views and appeal. Now, symbolism in the poem. Write the 100 words what the cherry tree in the poem symbolizes. Symbolic meaning means hidden meaning. Symbols, they tell us the hidden meaning. So here the cherry tree in the poem symbolizes survival, survival of human beings and survival of the nature. The cherry tree in the poem is a symbolism of survival. The life of the cherry tree is same as that of man's life. He needs to face many ups and downs. You know that the tree faced many challenges and still it was alive. Why? Because of its desire to be alive, its willpower to be alive. And that's why this is very important aspect of life that we must have positive attitude towards life. We must face the challenges and we must be confident that after facing the challenges, I will survive, I will be alive. So, he needs to face many ups and downs, withstand the odd conditions, the difficult situations, and protect himself from the attack of unexpected obstacles. You know that there are so many unexpected obstacles or difficulties in the path of the life. In our life, there are so many unexpected difficulties, but we have to overcome them with confidence. The relationship between the poet and the cherry tree is like that of our parents. You know that our parents, they take care of us and they observe our growth. Like that, the poet also had the same feeling that as if he is growing a child and he observed the growth of that tree. So, in this way, these things are symbolized in the poem. So, students, I hope you might have understood all this discussion. You will go through the poem again, you will read the poem again yourself, and you will be able to solve all the brainstorming activities based on this poem. So, thank you very much.